Into game 2 now, Drelo. What adjustments does Allegiance have to make? Because they basically have to win. Because if they don't win this, then they need Noble to 2-0 LG, and that's so unlikely.
When you see a character like Guan come out in the early picks and ban phase, you need to respond with a character that is repeat engaged in either the jungle or the support. You need to be able to not only repeatedly engage and force your lead after you win a fight, but also like be able to all in at a moment's notice.
I mean, we saw Allegiance actually last pick their Guardians, but their Guardians weren't really the best engaged Guardians.
Yeah.
What would you have rather seen in that?
I mean, it's difficult at that point in time as well because there were some early Guardian picks that came into the mix from the start.
I think there was a couple bans as well.
Yeah, and that makes it really difficult with what Allegiance had to work around in that situation. And so I think that's why we saw them opting for the Khepri and Jing 10. The Khepri was probably the only pick that I wasn't super certain about, but it seemed like Allegiance was, I think they focused a little bit too much on trying to get the correct disengage from those characters like Bastet and Freya that it actually hindered them because of the fact that, like Drelo said, they just didn't have anything that they needed that continuous engage in order to really lock down Eager in that composition. And the fact is they just didn't have it, and it ultimately led to them just falling behind.
I think Tom mentioned it on cast. The Jing 10 came out in the Soul Lane, but it didn't really seem like Cope was super comfortable on it. Do you think it's something that Allegiance just decided to run and just Cope lacked the experience on it?
It's not only, to me, not only was it just a spontaneous like reaction pick, but also like they obviously, in my opinion, didn't really know what the pick strength as well. Late season 2, people were experimenting with Freya as a counter to Xing 10 back when Xing 10 was really, really overpowered, because Freya just shreds tanks and it shreds through Xing 10 and can kite Xing 10 as well. Xing 10's very awkward, can't really force himself onto Freya and get that knock up on Freya and the one onto Freya.
And not really able to do that in those fights. I'd say, once again, I mean, Zapman's been pretty quiet, I think, throughout this tournament. It's really been on the back of a teamwork objective play, Best going off along with Aror having the setup for him. I mean, this is a thing, though. Like, when you do leave Zap unchecked in games, like, he can go off, and we saw that. Like, that Witchblade countered a lot of what Weekend was trying to do jumping on that back line.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't even that surprised to see the Witchblade coming out because I think that it was actually a great item for him to pick up considering that he was against the Jingwei in laning phase. And the Jingwei is probably one of the only hunters that can actually go toe-to-toe with that Freya pick in comparison. And so I think it was a really smart decision by him to opt for that because it gave him the defense that he needed, especially against the rest of Allegiance's draft, because there wasn't really anybody on the side of Allegiance who could damage Zap enough to kill him and take him out of those team fights. He was constantly surviving with that 10-20% HP, and it just became a huge problem at the end.
Now, the problem here with second pick against Eager is you can't take 4 characters away from Eager. You only can take 2 characters away from Eager. And you're also forced to ban Terra here on the second pick, or else Eager can pick it up right after from first pick.
I mean, I'm almost, I actually like this because the Terra and the Guan Yu are open. You have to assume Eager's going to grab one, ALG gets the other.
Ideally, I think the Allegiance are probably looking, they're most likely going to be opting for that Guan Yu pick. We've seen Incon play it already this weekend, and so that's kind of what I would expect them to opt for. It seems like they might be taking a different direction here.
Okay.
And I think that it's a little bit interesting for them to be bringing out both the Jingwei and the Soul on ALG, because this could be flex. In all honesty, this could be a bit of a flex pick. I'm not sure if MLC will opt for the Jingwei middle lane like we saw Xenotronics doing yesterday, but at the same time, you know, I think it's really interesting that they would choose to not try and secure the Guan Yu pick.
If you're Eager, are you grabbing the Guan here? I think that's what they're debating. They've taken a long time to even highlight some gods.
I mean, we saw Divios, he can take Terra solo, so Guan is certainly an option. However, if AOG goes Guan, I'm a bit worried here because we saw Incon play it yesterday. And he played it, in my opinion, he played it incorrectly. He was ulting and looking for the all-in, but Guan's strength comes from taking it slow, taking the fight slow and abusing your sustain.
That's one of the things I think we've been talking about ALG. They're phenomenal players, but it seems like they have one play style. Sometimes the comps they draft don't really fit it. It's not going to be the Guan Yu, excuse me, going back with the Bastet and an Erlang Shen as well. So in theory, if this is going to Aror on the Erlang Shen, a lot of setup coming out of that role.
Yeah, if I were ALG in the 3rd and 4th picks and ban stage, I would definitely be looking to take away those big mage ults, because otherwise Best is probably, his synergy with Aror in that middle lane between the setup is just honestly insane. And honestly, it could still be Aror on that Terra pick. You never know. It might not be Erlang like we're expecting.
That's the thing, you can't tell. You can't tell.
That's why Eager, I think, is so brilliant in the way that they draft, and they're probably one of the strongest teams when it comes to drafting because they could put anything into those first 3 picks, and you honestly couldn't tell which was going where.
Right, and Allegiance's picks to me scream one thing: safe. Jingwei, whether it goes middle or AOC, you can't really gank a Jingwei. She's incredibly safe with that ultimate, with also the knock up and the dash. Soul's very safe with not only the CC immunity on her ultimate, but also the 3 has a damage immunity after a period of time, while also slow immune from Bastet's cats. And you can't, the cats do not target you in the immunity. And Vamana, very textbook, very safe, very farm.
Really hard to gank a Vamana.
Exactly.
Nearly impossible in a lot of scenarios. It is going to be the big mage. Schultz banned away, like you said, Taco. No Giannis. Also, no Scylla. So we haven't really seen Scylla too much in either groups, but still a lot of respect after that last game to TheBest.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give Best anything that he's going to be able to set up. But I mean, if you notice, depending on what Eager choose to go into here, Bongos is still up on the board. Raijin being anything could be happening for ALG, but I feel like I wouldn't be surprised to see DJ trying to pull out a pick like Circuit, even though he hasn't had the strongest showing on Circuit so far. It wouldn't be the worst pick in the world, I think, to try and deal with a little bit of sustain that Eager does have coming out with that Terra Erlang Shen.
It's possible. Sylvanas ban as well. So Eager kind of expecting Allegiance to not go for the Guan and actually go for the support heal sustain style.
Right. And so if Allegiance does go for the Circuit, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned because they won't have any repeat engage or any strong engage past the early game with their comp. With Kumbhakarna, the only engage is with the blink, and we saw that was a huge problem against sustained comps last game.
I'd say Kumba's a little bit better though, right? You can dash in and mez, but it's not that hard CC.
It's really telegraphed.
Gives them a lot of time to react here. Seems like it's going to be the Bongos. I actually hadn't heard you call Raijin Bongos yet. I was like, Bongos? Oh, Raijin, okay, I got you.
Believe it or not, Best is actually the reason why I got used to calling Raijin Bongos, because I used to play I used to key ranked a lot with Best when Raijin first came out, and he would always just say, I love Bongos. And so it got me into the habit of saying that.
A lot of experience on that god for Best. Rom locked in as well, and it's going to be the Hunbats once again, so they have that engage coming out of the jungle. Drelo, thoughts on the draft?
Eager won it by far. I don't see how... Even if Allegiance do get a pick in the early team fight like they did last game, I don't see how they're going to force the issue. I think Eager by far won this draft.
Taco?
I'm pretty concerned for Allegiance as well. I think Eager do have the stronger draft.
It's going to be a real tough road for Allegiance here. I got to go with Eager closing this out and earning themselves first seed. But we got Tom and Tolly on the casting desk ready to bring you the game.
Yeah, I got to agree with you guys. Looking down it, first of all, I want to address this one in the face. Terra, Erlang, Shen are going in the solo lane and the support role respectively. I don't expect Divios to play anything but Terra.
Not at all. It's going to be more than likely Aror playing the Erlang Shen because he likes these aggressive style gods. He's been known for the Fender, known for the Ares, and he's been playing Erlang Shen this whole weekend. And it was TheBest that was synergizing off of those javelin tosses from Aror by playing the Rai. Not going to find it this time around because of the ban, the respect ban, but that now gives Eager the Terra like we mentioned. And Divios playing the Terra is nothing to sneeze at either. He's going to be very tanky.
This is the most meta we've also seen a draft out of Eager, honestly. You got a Terra, you got a Raijin, and I guess Rom can count as well. I mean, this team has really been playing on their own completely, and now they're finally going to fall back into the ranks, and there you go, Divios on the Earth Mother. Cope will be playing on the Vamana. Tolly, our resident solo expert, break down this rarely seen matchup.
It's not very easy for a Guardian in general to be against a Warrior, but the fact that Divios has always been getting these rafts, he's going to be able to sustain in the laning phase. He has the Monolith, which gives him the HP 5 if he needs to. He should be easily able to also out-clear Cope, especially the fact that he's going to get a lot of minion aggro once he dives into the Monolith as it switches from healing to damage over time, which will give him minion aggro. But that Mark of the Vanguard is going to keep him alive for so long, and Cope is going to struggle up until he hits level 7 to fully clear the wave.
The Mark should combat a little bit of the damage brought to you by the Bluestone as well, so that'll certainly help out there in that regard. Cope, this has been one of his comfort picks, however, on the Vamana, so maybe in lane he might struggle a little bit, but I think one of the few dominant performances out of Cope has come off of this Vamana.
He's been very comfortable with it, which is why Eager used to ban it against him in the first set that they played against him. Now, the second set in the first day, it was actually a split between Eager and Allegiance, and that was because we saw Stealth get the Nox and Cope get the Vamana.
So here again, one more time we see the Ra ban, and I want to touch on the Noble game that happened before. I think Noble did everybody a favor. They said, all right, look, we're kind of out of it. We're going to see what happened. And second game of that set, Noble let Ra through. and Best just goes dominant again. I think some people thought, hey, maybe it was just a one-day thing, maybe it was just a flash in the darkness. Absolutely not. Noble let it through. They show everybody how dominant the Ra's going to be, and I think that was a heads up to every other team that you just can't give the Best that character.
I don't think it was even the Ra. I still think that it's the Erlang Shen Aror that just gets the easy setup, and Raijin will pair very well with the same kind of setup. You have the root cripple from the javelin toss, you have the taunts as well from the Aurora's ultimate, you have the knockup from the turtle. So Best, he's going to be very patient, just waiting for the setup from Aror.
Yeah, I think the Erlang Shen support is one of the more revolutionary things we've seen here. I'm glad to finally see it come down, because it's something that I think a lot of people have talked about on paper. Duo lane, a little bit of aggression coming out from Aror and Zapman, to put it lightly. This matchup here, you've got the Rama and the Erlang Shen versus the Jing and the Kumbhakarna. Right now, we're seeing all the pressure go Eager's way. You reckon this will stay this way?
Oh, absolutely. You have two comfort picks right now. You have Erlang Shen on Aror, and then you have Ram that's on Zapman, and you also have an aura in the stadium. Marvels is in the building. So the fact that Eager brings out the Ram, they get +1 damage on every single in-hand.
Well, that's certainly going to matter right here. Very important mez coming out of Incon to save the life of Venenu. I think that might have even been the kill. But the yawn coming out certainly saves the Hunter's life right there.
It's going to be Zapman still playing aggressive in the duel lane with Aror. Look how aggressive they are on the tower line, wanting to be able to be the first ones that clear, even trying to stop the back from Venenu, which is so important because of his passive. We see the Jingwei coming back into the lane, but look how smart Eager is. They're just freezing the wave. They know that he's going to be back anytime soon, so just denying that one little minion could be the difference of hitting level 5 first.
Yeah, I mean, Venenu missed 2 creeps right there because of it. And, you know, those small plays actually matter. There are large boosts, like you said, hitting level 5, that's going to be a big deal. One of the bigger points for Jingwei is that ultimate and how safe she can be. Well, if everybody hits level 5 before her, you can hit her before she gets away.
And there's going to be a lot of damage dealt onto Venenu because he doesn't have purification to get out of Auror's initiation. He has the Sanctuary to try to survive the initial snipes coming out of Zapman. So a little bit of a give and take between the Relic decision-making process for Venenu.
Divios doing pretty well in lane. Weekend shows up, and you can see Cope trying to bait the hit, using the back, expecting Divios to stop the back and push up further, but that not going to be a bait that Divios takes. In fact, he could do the opposite and go back home.
If this was 2013 Smite, that bait would have definitely worked, but we're in the 2016 Season 3. We're in the SPL Group B with Eager now qualifying Allegiance. They need to still get at least 1 win. They're at 5 points with Luminosity at 7. That's going to be the next set as well, Luminosity against Allegiance. So as long as Allegiance can take at least 1 point here and find both wins against Luminosity, they're going to be in a good spot.
I mean, they have to win this one first, though.
They do.
First things first. Don't get ahead of yourself. Allegiance absolutely have to wind up with a victory here, and Eager are going to try and stop that. Ultimate comes out from Weekend, sending everybody in different directions, but here comes the drums of war. The Best piles the damage in. Incon in trouble, separated and devastated. One more hit'll do it, and djpernicus gets the first blood.
The ultimate from Divios keeping everybody alive from Eager. So many cooldowns were used there trying to shut down the Guardian, but it didn't matter because of the sustain. Aror was caught out of position as well, but with the rotation from the Batz just keeping him alive, they had no abilities available to save Incon's life, unfortunately.
And you know, that wasn't the best fight coming out of Eager, honestly. It looked like they couldn't really find a target until Incon gave it to them. Everybody was grouped up, and you saw the Best kind of target one player, and everything kind of going haywire for Eager. That man losing this fight, but Aror shows up. That's a ton of damage on Venenu already. To the skies goes 1. Shot 1 is good. Venenu doesn't land just yet. Zapman can't predict it. And down he comes, and Aror not going to give chase. So Venenu's safe for now.
I love the patience between usually Jingwei and Ram players. Obviously, Ram's in the sky, so is Jingwei. The longer you are as a Jingwei from the descent portion, the longer of a time there is between that second and third shot. Now, if you get hit by the first and second, more than likely, because of that waiting time, there's no time for Zapman to even get off the third one. And more importantly, the Sanctuary was saved for Venenu, so he could still stay in laning phase for quite a while.
DJ now. Here we go. He's got a little bit of a lead thanks to that first blood we saw earlier on. Still the only action, or at least action with a consequence this game. No invades just yet, as you might expect from two very, very intelligent teams. And like we said, Allegiance playing for pretty much everything. So this is interesting, watching Divios clear this wave this way. Why does he stack the minions up the way he does with that ability?
He wants to be able, so the way this mechanic works is when you get the stun wall off effect, you dash through it, you create a little cone area of damage. So you're grouping up the whole wave in that little spot, you dash doing the damage, and then you dash through them again, because once you dash through your own wall, you get that secondary dash.
There's a proxy wave being farmed by Cope. But there's a ton of players here. DJ's gonna catch him out, nice little slow. No Razor follow-up, though.
Cope's still
Cope's
having
just
his
gonna walk
ultimate.
back.
He still has his ultimate, so he's not in a bad position here. He's trying to find the tier 1 to tier 2 proxy farming, especially with the speed buff coming up. Incon finding that big uppercut weakened with the Fear No Evil. Aror, though, he's trying to stay alive.
He's all alone and damage coming through the wall from the best. Aurora still in a lot of trouble using that turtle to get a shield and then healing himself up thanks to the meditation. Jumping forward, Incon's in trouble and smashed by Divios. Up in the air is Zapman finding the kill and the double kill for the solo lane.
3 kills yet again for Eager this time around in the second game. They get off to a great start now. 4 kills on the board. They should be able to continue the pressure. Now Divios with Raph should invade this blue buff, no problem. Cope doesn't have the teleport. So yet again, the Guardian strategy coming out of Eager in the solo lane, working out so efficiently.
There's no man left behind. That's usually a defensive term, but Eager and Zapman more specifically take it on the offense. No straggler is allowed out. If you start the fight, you're going to end it. And Zapman goes right up on the Ram and makes sure nobody can run away. We can take it out there. It's 4-zip right now, very early on, 7 minutes on the clock, and already Eager find themselves up almost 2K, and that's just off of kills and fights alone.
Sometimes Allegiance goes overboard, dumping so many abilities onto one target. We saw yet again Divios' ultimate with Aurora's ultimate, keeping Aurora alive for just so long that the counter engage from Eager was just too strong for Allegiance to really handle. And this is something that Allegiance really have to adapt to. And yet again, DJ all over the map, able to pick off Venenu.
Surprise. That's just how it's going to go. DJ surprising and just playing assassin. Divios playing with his opposition. Both of them jumping around. Divios baiting the back, and well, Cope just going to dash through it.
And surprisingly, the Sanctuary wasn't used from Venenu during the gank. DJ is going to be able to take away the boars. This is going to be like a little bit of a jungle tax away. Like, okay, I just ganked your lane, Zap. I'm taking your boars as compensation.
But he does miss the first hit. You got to call him out on that massive misplay right there. Cope is going to be able to... I'm liking this. Cope gets the invade and just stands there real quick, showing Divios how dominant he is.
He was waiting for the blue buff to drop as well, so this is a style that both solo laners able to counter invade each other. Very important timing. The Wrath was still not available for Divios, so that was very important for Cope to actually manage to get his own blue,
right.
Well, actually Divios' blue buff, so keeping himself longer in the laning phase.
It's always good to see these guys having fun. Like we said, Allegiance, they've got their back against the wall. Everything is riding on this game. Their season could end here, but Cope's still able to have a good time and toy around with the solo lane, because at the end of the day, I mean, that lane is sort of by itself, right? You used to call it Solo Island.
Absolutely, you're just trying to be as obnoxious as possible, which is why Divios is trying to, do a back bait, and this is the old school style days of the solo laner and trying to find any possible invade. Divios he's not actually going to back, he just wants to bait out Cope in this position.
And look, it just leads to a little bit. I like how Divios drops the heal. He's going to sit in it and heal up, but it's also there for the knockup immunity. You've got the dash coming out. There's another dash that's going to provide a knockup. Venenu gets taunted into the damage. Zapman can't find it, but guess what? He's in the sky, misses one. Waiting for it, just taking his time, not even going to look for Venenu.
He recognizes that Aurora's coming on the backhand side. He didn't have to go for the snipes, but the knockup was too strong. The javelin toss is not on the market now. Aurora, he doesn't have an escape, and he's going to fall.
Weekend gets the kill. Eager played a little bit too aggressive there, in my opinion, totally. I think they just got a little bit ahead of themselves, and down goes one for Allegiance. Aurora's going to sit out for about 20 seconds. And is there anything Allegiance can do in the meantime?
It doesn't seem like it, because Cope is very low. He's now level 12 to pick up the teleport, whereas Divios is level 12, so he could potentially look for a power play, especially with his Wrath available. He could back, look for the Gold Fury invade. Now, I'm really surprised that Eager, they tried to do a little bit too much there with the ultimate from Zap. I thought guaranteed Venenu was dead there, but instead, the second and third shots coming out of Zap was targeted towards Stealth instead.
Yeah, we've seen, so to be honest with you, that's, you know, one of the rare times that hasn't worked out. A lot of times these eager players will trust each other to sort of finish the deal. We saw that earlier in the first team fight where Zapman goes, Zapman takes care of Weekend sort of by himself while the rest of the team fight is taking care of saving Aror, and that trust in your teammate to get the job done. That trust doesn't come out this time around. Aror didn't have enough damage to really take out the opposition with just Talaria boots.
Yet again, Eager, they're gonna force the Gold Fury. 10 minutes, almost 11. Free Gold Fury for them. They had the Wrath. Divios was there. They used the Kitties to be able to tank the Gold Fury. So clean coming out of Eager.
And that one was just going to surge Eager forward. 3,000 gold in the lead already. 11 minutes on the clock, and that is a demanding lead at the moment. As we always talk about how gold is sort of relative, right? Well, 3,000 gold, there's nothing relative. It's not that confusing. It's just a big lead.
It's a pretty big lead, especially with it only being 11.5 minutes. Eager are always putting themselves in a good spot objectively, whether it's the towers or the Gold Fury, especially with djPern playing this Bastet. He's just been all over the place, finding the picks, even applying pressure, not necessarily always having to find the kills.
Beautiful shot at Incon, knowing exactly where DJ was going to land on back. Here comes the ultimate out of Weekend. The immediate purification out of Zapman. He's going to take to the sky and look for MLC Stealth. 2 out of 3 is going to hit, but Venenu from the back end. Actives have to come out from Zapman in order to save his life. TheBest trying to dial it down the middle lane, and Weekend able to jump away until Divios says hello.
But now Cope having to use his own ultimate just to retreat so far. We only have a 1-for-0. Eager's going to be able to back off and sustain off of the monolith from Divios. So close with Zapman being able to find the raw montage. He found the first 2 hits onto Stealth, not able to snap hit the third one, but overall still putting a lot of pressure onto Stealth, and they have a health advantage to put pressure on this tier 1 mid.
DJ in the back lines trying to be as obnoxious as possible. The jump is down, needs help from the teammates. Zapman rolls forward aggressively, all in Allegiance's back jungle. Cope goes down.
DJ baited out Cope to chase him down, and the rest of Eager ignore the tier 1 mid collapse and help DJ to get out of a sticky situation. And now they're going to be rewarded with a tier 1 mid tower.
Still slippery, DJ gets away. Tier 1 tower falls down. Your damage leader is DJ on the jungle Bastet. He's been in and out and all around, and it's not just split push. DJ has been dominant on this Bastet, many different ways, many different plays, and I'm just all about it. I'm loving what we're seeing out of Mr. Gosling.
It's very surprising to see the Notebook actor come out here and be able to get top player damage, because normally he's the setup jungler for his team. He's the one that's making the plays for TheBest usually, or Zapman. But the fact that he's able to bring out the Bastet and be at the top player damage shows the difference of styles of Eager yet again, between the team composition, the itemization, and now switching to go from a utility jungler to a hyper carry jungler.
Right, we've seen the split push come out. We've seen the setup come out of DJ. We've seen the sustained comp come out of Eager as a whole. We've seen a number of different things, and I think that's very important. People were complaining about the cheese strategy out of Eager or this, that, or a third, but knowing that that's just one arrow in the quiver of Eager's arsenal, I think it's very important to understand that this is a multifaceted team. Teams that have one shot for the victory, they don't really last too long. Those are the teams that you see do well in the regular season and then falter at LAN time. Not the case for Eager, and the way it looks right now, Allegiance are going to have a hard time bringing this one home.
There's no faltering for Eager, despite being locked in for Super Regionals right now out of Group B. They're still playing lights out in this last game because they want to get that first seed. It's very important for them heading into Super Regionals to try to get the easiest matchup heading forward to try to qualify to Worlds.
Allegiance are down about 5,000 gold, which is still a fight intoable. They can definitely find a situation, whether it be by Gold Fury or on the other side of the map, although it's a little bit early to start talking about the Fireman. Allegiance, they need to find that window of opportunity. DJ has proven to be a little bit too slippery. Divios on the Terra, a little bit too tanky. Who do they target? I liked when they were looking at Aror.
It was difficult to try to lock down Aror because of the sustain between his own ultimate and the ultimate coming out of Divios. they tried to pick him up before the Sovereignty, and they weren't successful. They couldn't dump the abilities quick enough to lock him down. And now the fact that the Sovereignty is finished, the Sprint and the Shell is online for Aror. He's going to be, if you thought DJ was slippery, Aror is going to be that much more slippery.
Exactly. So, I mean, honestly, who is it? Who is the selection? Is it Zapman on the ROM?
It has to be at least somebody zoning Zapman away from the team fights. Not necessarily being able to burst him down, but at least get him out of the team fights, not allow him to get the damage. I would expect Allegiance maybe baiting out DJ's jump and then trying to take advantage of that while that's on cooldown.
Looking at the composition that Allegiance have, I think that Weekend is going to and has to be a focal point of this group. We have to see the ultimate come out in the middle of when Eager are trying to start this team fight. And I think from there, you've got to select either Zap or TheBest. I think those are going to be your two characters that are going to be easier to take down. Like I said, DJ is going to be a little bit too slippery. Even TheBest with the Thunder Crash could be a viable option.
It seems that Cope is going for the magical defense with a Genshi's guard, trying to maybe zone out TheBest, as well as surviving in the laning phase against Divios, but he doesn't have that much of a health pool. He's also trying to finish off the Breastplate of Valor. We saw Zapman trying to look for some shots into that little jungle skirmish, but not really going to find anything out of it.
Divios now dashing forward. Not going to find Cope or anything. Keep an eye on those teleports, folks. I think as the Gold Fury came up pretty recently, we're going to see another fight there on the left-hand side for it.
Divios still being obnoxious against the Cope. He's going to probably stop the back with an in-hand yet again, just being an obnoxious little bully. But around the jungle side of the red buff from Allegiance, it's Eager pressing their issue.
There's the hit at a Weekend. Immediate response out of Zapman with the Purification roll. He's been on point with those actives.
Still looking for more plays as DJ, walking over Allegiance's Sentry Ward. It seems that Eager, they want to start up the Gold Fury, but Cope, he has made the teleport play.
Still on the other side is Divios, but Allegiance not pulling the trigger just yet.
It feels that Eager, they want the Gold Fury to be started by Allegiance instead. They want to take the small marginal win with that tier 1 solo tower, and now DJ's on the right-hand side. Should be able to strip away the speed buff from Weekend.
I think Cope's teleport came out a little bit too soon.
It scared him. Absolutely. Eager. They put pressure onto the Gold Fury, forcing the teleport from Cope, and now Divios is rewarded with a tier 1 solo tower. And now, because that teleport's down from Cope, whereas Divios is up,
right,
it could be Eager to start the gold.
Eager are going to look for a pure reset. Send everybody back to lane, everybody back to what they're supposed to be doing, and then I think we'll see Divios shade over with that teleport and make the 5-on-4 play for the Gold Fury. That's what I think. We'll see if Eager actually put that one into the playtest. Zapman shading over. He's just going to pick up his buff, though.
18 minutes in the game. Eager with a 6-kill lead, about 6,000 gold as well. So this is the timing window where it's getting to the late game stages. Zapman's level 17 with the red buff. Best is almost 17. Divios is almost level 20 here. And I would expect Eager to start sentry warding around the Gold Fury, looking for more picks.
Listen, Allegiance got to make a play. They have to make a play. Before you and I were postulating about different picks that they could find, where do they make the play? Because a lot of people have been talking, the analysts we were talking, 7K becomes that scary part where things become difficult to fight into. Allegiance, they're on the cusp. It's 5,000 to 6,000. Where do they make the play?
It has to be onto Zapman if he's going to be that aggressive. Cope's going to find the slow, but he's not going to continue the pressure. He's just going to let Zap reset. And now Aror, he's going to keep on zoning. Allegiance, they have to find onto a pick onto either DJ or Zap here.
Eager looking for the Gold Fury right about now. Let's ride along with them thanks to Seal Series.
Let's go. Kumba,
You can fight with Terra.
You got Root Kumba?
Spawning him.
That's how about
I'm
Kumba.
Let's go. You going on Batz?
Yeah, he's low. Batz is one hit. Oh, I got him. I hit him all 3 times.
Nice.
Vamana.
I'm waiting for
Got
his
it,
dash. Got it. Oh, no.
Yeah, he's coming. There it is, baby.
Can we go fire or no?
Yeah, we could do fire.
Just too cold.
Gold.
I got big heals on it. Look how much his heals for. Already.
But maybe right per? I don't know, Jing can do that.
Actually,
Get that mid-wave.
Can we all go left?
Yeah, we can get it. They're down for a while.
Let's all go left.
Get it.
111.
Venenu's mid. I go right now.
Yeah, just get that farm.
So Eager make the play. A little bit of they couldn't figure out where to go. after the play. But very quickly they decided to go for the Gold Fury and then make the play on the left-hand tower. And that's Eager just understanding that it's not about the team fight, it's about what happens after the fight.
djpernicus is definitely the true leader that Eager needs here. We listened to the comms. We heard Zapman being a little surprised that he hit all 3 shots, but afterwards he made the calls like, all right, we killed 3, we can do fire. DJ's like, no, we're doing gold. We got the Gold Fury. We're right here. Why would we go all the way over there, right? And then on top of the Gold Fury, they were also able to extend that to the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. So now heading into the 21-minute mark, Eager almost 10,000 gold up.
And DJ being the leader, that's no secret. Zapman told me himself, he's our IGL. That's who you're going to be listening to here. And, you know, that's even when we listened to our little, what was that, our bumper video about DJ, you got to hear all the players talk about how, you know, DJ might not be the best at hitting his buttons, but damn, he's a good leader. And that's exactly the presence that he's bringing to Eager. And that's pretty much exactly what he wants to do.
Aror just standing firm beside his own monolith, doesn't really care that all the pressure from Allegiance is right around the corner in mid lane. There's nothing really that Allegiance can do because they don't know if there's more members behind Aror. You don't want to fall into the trap that Eager loved to set up. We saw in the first game around the Fire Giant in the later stages that they were able to set up multiple traps on Allegiance.
And again, they're out of Asclepius coming out onto Divios, amplifying that healing. And it's a decent aggressive item in and of itself. 75 power on it, plus the healing amplification. One of my favorite items, PS movement speed. Venenu's ultimate going to be chased out. Eager starting the Fire Giant, but it's really about starting the fire itself. Zapman lands a couple of basics and a couple of ultimates, and Venenu is chased out all the way. Fire Giant again being gressed on. Hey, Weekend's got a split push strategy of his own, and so does Cope. Mid and left lane being aggressed on while the Fire Giant goes down to Eager for free.
It seems that Allegiance are not confident trying to contest this Fire Giant at the 22-minute mark. Instead, they're trying to find a little bit of gold, and they weren't even able to get the tier 1 mid tower. Only finding 500 gold was Weekend for his team. So Eager finding the end game objective. They're now grouping up around the mid lane. They're not really worried if Weekend split pushes on the left-hand side. Even if they traded a tier 2 tower for it, not dealing with a Hunbat's Fear No Evil is going to make this siege so much easier.
Yeah, Hunbat's didn't really have the abilities to go for the split push or the build. Just now he's building into the penetration, so he might be able to do that a little bit later. 4-1 split, Bastet by his lonesome one more time on the right-hand side, able to make the push as Eager doing the same thing grouped up in the mid lane. Eager's been doing this for a long time. Even going back to the spring split when they had the same roster, they had what I call the Eagle Talon, where they'd have 3 players in the mid and then 1 on the left and right, and force the opposition to make the choice of where to commit to, and wherever they didn't would get smoked. Eager now doing that 4-in-1 split push and still finding success.
DJ baiting out the Fear No Evil from Weekend, immediately pouncing back. That's going to make the siege so much easier now. Eager, they bullied out Cope in the beginning, finding a nice little route from Aror onto Cope, and it's Zapman getting knocked up with the route. He's so low, he doesn't have his ultimate, he's falling.
No help, but it's just the second death. There's number 3. Allegiance stands strong, their Phoenixes stay alive, and a great defensive set coming out from ALG. They've got to win this game to extend their season, and they're not ready to go down just yet.
Purification, Sanctuary were available from Zap. I think his ultimate just now came back up. I'm really surprised that he didn't have any assistance and he didn't bail himself out of that sticky situation. So now Eager, despite having Fire Giant, Allegiance, they hold on to their Phoenix in the mid lane, and they're still trying to force it, going down mid.
Cute play from Weekend there, tossing the monkey and following it after the Thunder Crash. But hey, it's DJ back to his old tricks again. Hey Phoenix, see you later. Mid Phoenix gets split pushed by djpernicus. TheBest gets out of jail by purifying and dashing away. Damage underneath the tower. Incon takes a ton of it, and TheBest kills Venenu. Incon able to answer back and take down the mid laner, but a couple more basics will secure the kill. Can Divios find it? Auror's here to show up, help out, and Incon gonna survive for the moment, but it's just brief. Aror takes him out after the reprieve.
2 for 1. Best was able to split off a lot of damage. DJ finding a kill onto Weekend. The snipes from Zap being able to deter Stealth from finding the trade kill. Sustain from Divios is going to help out DJ. So great play overall, finding the mid Phoenix, coming back into the team fight. Also finding Weekend, but Aror's not done yet. He's pinning out Stealth. The rest of his team is trying to follow up. They want to find a kill here and then go for the left Phoenix.
Ultimate comes out of Aror to taunt forward. Zapman's here as well. You can hear DJ screaming from across the arena. Everybody on Eager are filled with the adrenaline, and they're looking for the kills, and Divios gets them, puts them down. MLC Stealth can't survive.
And they're going to the left-hand side. They're trying to force the left Phoenix while DJ's going to the right. Yet again, another split push, but he's going to get deterred from Venenu. Divios finding Cope as well as Venenu trading for DJ.
Still on the left side, while Venenu is taking care of Divios, everybody else from Eager taking care of business. The Phoenix in some trouble. Incon finds a knockup coupled with Weaken's ultimate, but Zapman answers back thanks to his relics.
It's going to be Eager. They're not able to get the right Phoenix. They're getting really low with Incon reviving. He finds a double root, but he has to fall back into the safety of his left Phoenix. It got so low, but now Divios, he has to sustain to keep on going. Zapman has the damage to find kills or the Phoenix if he wants to.
And Weaken's ultimate no longer available. That's one of the bigger tools that Allegiance has at Disruption. But 4 players strong, Eager were able to take down the left side Phoenix.
They're still putting pressure onto Allegiance. They can't really respond off of the kills that they got earlier on during the mid lane. They found those 2 kills, but it was all about the best that got dove just a little bit too hard in that tier 2 tower siege. Able to not only find 1 kill, but Incon got traded off as well. So Eager, they're commanding this game. It's 26 minutes in. They found 2 Phoenixes. They're getting another gold here, extending their lead to beyond 12,000 here.
And it's just, I think at this point, it's a lot. It's a lot for Allegiance to deal with. I think they sort of see the writing on the wall here. MLC Stealth on this Soul. He's 1-1-3, but I have to question the application. Soul for me is not a character that can hard carry out of the mid lane. You see it happen out of the hunter lane, out of the duo lane there. Aror giggling his way away from everything there. But MLC Stealth, when I think MLC, I think of these large, big hit mages. I don't think Soul really fits that, Tolly.
It doesn't seem like it's been really working out for Stealth in this game, at least. The draft composition was a lot of focus from trying to shut down Best. I would say there was a Giannis ban and a Scylla ban.
Yeah.
As well as a Raw ban to take that away from his hands. But that also hurts Best in the process because now you're going for the Soul because you don't want Zapman to play Soul, so you're going to take that away from him. Now you're not really fitting your style. It wasn't a Kukulkan or a Nox ban coming out of Eager. There was still a lot of comfort picks for Stealth if he wanted to go for it. But I feel like Allegiance, they were trying to shut down Eager instead of playing their own game in this draft.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, I think Eager and Allegiance have played similar games throughout the weekend as far as the gameplay is concerned. Allegiance has been a very strong team. I don't want to paint them with the incorrect brush, but when it comes down to it, the picks and bans, the P's and B's have been Eagers all the way through.
And they've been executing it so efficiently. The Bastet was 7 for 7. They haven't dropped a single game with the Bastet in the online phase or this weekend. As a result, if they win this game, they're going to be at 14 points, guaranteeing themselves the first seed coming out of this group.
Divios pushes up, takes care of the mid lane Phoenix by himself. Eager has so far done a split push, whether it's 3-2, 4-1, but at this point, they just don't have to. DJ still gonna opt for it, but he's not looking for an objective. He's looking for the fight. Everybody lined up into the best crosshairs. DJ comes around the back end and takes out Venenu. Rom from the sky gonna do the same. Weaken eats dirt. Aror, credit for that one. 2 players dead on the side of Allegiance. Down goes the Phoenix, and Eager are pushing into the throne room. Allegiance are looking at their season collapse right in front of their eyes. And with that win, Eager pushes forward. It's curtains for Allegiance.
Allegiance, they need to find an answer against the next set. Luminosity is right around the horizon. They're sitting at 5 points. Luminosity are at 7. This is problematic for Allegiance.
Eager have been as dominant as we've ever seen them. They look strong, they look happy, and they've earned it. Right there, grouping up in the huddle. They have been absolutely on fire.
Absolutely. The leadership from djpernicus has led them to the promised land, coming out of this group with the first seed. Impressive play from every member from Eager, especially Best on the first game, as well as their draft. Just Eager as a whole, they've come to play despite their lackluster performance in the online phase.
And that's really the key for me, Anatoly, is the fact that it hasn't been one individual player. We've seen Best turn up on the Ra and even on the Scylla. We've seen Zapman do the heavy lifting on the Freya. We've seen Aror be an integral part of what the Best has been able to do with the Erlang Shen support, and of course Divios giggling all the way home. Can't leave out djpernicus and his split push extravaganza. Every single member of Team Eager has stepped it up and been able to bring it home. If there's anything else you can say about this, it's not up to me, it's up to the analyst desk. Kevin, Taco, Drelo, talk to us.
Brutal set there for Allegiance. Now they have to rely on not only themselves 2-0ing LG, but they also have to have Noble 2-0 LG. Incredibly unlikely. LG only need one more victory after that. Just what went wrong, Drelo? I know you had some complaints about the draft right after you get off the desk. Kind of break that down. Why wasn't Allegiance's comp working out for them?
I mean, the draft just made zero sense to me. I mean, the whole draft has seemed very spontaneous, very reactive, instead of a well thought out, well planned draft, kind of like what Eager has been doing. And that's sort of like the biggest difference between the two teams, in my opinion. Eager came to land with a plan, a well thought out drafts, well thought out team comps. Well, Allegiance had like maybe one or two plans and when they didn't work out, they kind of just panicked.
And Best, Taco said it, a lot of experience on that Raijin. We saw such a phenomenal set there from him, especially in that second game on this. I gotta say, sometimes I felt like Allegiance was kind of giving it to him too.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that one. I mean, we saw multiple ultimates coming out. You see Venenu dashing
walked straight into it.
Yeah, it's just... He's taking the tower damage as well, and then on top of that, he's taking the shots from the Raijin straight to the face. That's not really the way you'd ideally want to handle that ultimate coming out from Best, but I think just overall, Eager's performance this weekend was just so dominant and controlling, and honestly, I don't think that a single one of their players was ever on a pick that they felt uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
I'd say the closest they ever got to it was Zapman playing Soul.
And that really didn't seem to be too much of a problem for him. Just across the board, all their players showed up this lane. It wasn't just the highlight snipes from Best. It was the setup from Aror. It was Zapman keeping control of his lane, and Divios as well, really dominant against the 3-lane rookies in the Soul lane.
Right, and also DJ setting up his team and putting his team in position to succeed, and his carries in position to do damage. Everyone showed up, everyone played well, everyone did their job and followed the call. This
Bastet though, like we haven't seen Bastet in a long time, and we haven't really seen this objective-centered split push Bastet be a meta in quite some time. Is this something that just can't be dealt with right now, or is this teams not being able to figure it out in only the matter of a couple days?
I mean, the last time it happened was in Shattered, brought it out in Spring Split against us. And it actually prevented us from going to DreamHack. And so it hasn't happened since then, so a lot of teams are just unprepared for it. They don't really know how to deal with a Bastet split push or a Bastet backdoor.
I will say, I have seen Shatter do it multiple times. That just reminded me, like, maybe 2 or 3, only a handful, but Eager used it as their normal strategy, Taco.
I would have ideally liked to see ALG go ahead and take away that Bastet from him in the second game, because while most people will refer to that as cheese and people saying, oh, he's just backdooring everything, that's not really a good strat or him outplaying. It's just him doing something cheesy and unfamiliar. But the thing is, unfamiliar is what wins games. And I mean, there's a lot on the line with these sets, and with how well Pern has been playing on this Bastet, you might as well just take that away from him.
He's basically played it perfectly and also allowed his team to qualify for first seed at Super Regionals. We're going to show you guys the brackets real quick. We already have a couple of these teams filled out. Still a lot more to go. Right-hand side, Orbit closing out Group A as first seed. Sanguine in second, and now Eager guaranteed that #1 spot. They got to be feeling good. They're a single one best of 5 away from Zapman finally making it to Worlds.
I think Zap is pretty excited too, thinking about being at Worlds for his first time ever. I mean, it's definitely something that he's been wanting to accomplish for a long time. And I know Pern and Best as well, they've been around the scene for a long time, while not necessarily active members of it. I mean, they've definitely, I think this is more than well earned by Eager.
So for Allegiance here, obviously incredibly unlikely that they're going to be able to qualify. Still that mathematical chance. I mean, what are your thoughts for them as a whole, whether they make it out of this or if they have to go through the gauntlet?
Regardless of what happens whether or not they qualify or not, they seem to, again, correctly identify what their problems are, why they lost, why their comps weren't as great as they should have been, and then take that L, so to speak, and learn from it, and then go into the gauntlet confident.
It's going to be a really tough road for Allegiance, and one of the star players there, Incon, he's waiting by the side for a quick interview before we let you go and before we get on to the next set. Aggro, ask him some good questions for us.
I hope they're good questions. Incon, thank you so much for joining me, man. So, not how you wanted the first set to go today. I'm sure it's tough, but you're still alive. You still got Luminosity up next. How are you going to prepare for Luminosity and kind of shake off this tough start?
Yeah, so we knew Eager was going to be extremely strong. They've been playing by far the best out of any of the teams here. So we knew that if we could just, kind of hold our ground against Eager, and we did. They were like 40-minute games, and so, what are you going to do sometimes? But we definitely have individual strategies going in for LG.
So talk to me about your rookies and how they've been doing so far this land. Venenu and Cope, both looking pretty strong overall. I know, like we mentioned, not how you wanted to start off the day, but looking at the land as a whole, how do you think they've performed?
I think Ven's actually done really good. I think everybody was a little bit nervous showing up, the two new guys, but actually Ven's impressed me the most, really showing up in the last couple of games. Even in the games that we're losing, he's actually doing a ton of damage, and I think in the last game he had like 14k more damage than anybody else on our team did, so he's actually playing very well, and I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, great showings from both of them. And so at the end of the day, you're going to need Noble to get 2 games against Luminosity. You're going to be rooting for the clowns and crowns. If you're in their comms, what are you telling them before the game to try and make them get hyped up?
I'm telling them right now, I'm like, don't let Jeff get Terra. Every time they win with Terra, don't give him Terra. Ban that every time, or take first pick.
Take first pick. Don't give Jeff Terra. So next up, it's going to be Allegiance versus Luminosity. Even if Allegiance aren't able to find these wins, we're hoping they will, they still have the gauntlet available, so don't worry, all you Twitchers and Incon's community, the Weak Nation, still a lot of hope. We're going to come up with Allegiance and Luminosity next.
horizon lights up in the palm of my hands. I reach out to grab the edge. Was it a reaction to the rainfall that make the lights reflect overhead? Whisper something sweet over the city to counter the bitter air. I will be listening for you. The chains were too hard to bear. I believe there's a place where I belong, and you do too. It's not far away. If only it were true. I believe that the waves won't take me